see that? Great. Okay, so where we're going to begin is on the library website, and you can find us at libraries.missouri-state.edu. You can also use the Missouri State search box in the upper right corner, type in library or libraries. And as you scroll down, you'll see the hours. And below the hours is where you'll see a tabbed search box. This is where your research will begin. Whether it's using our Discover search or going to the second tab where it says articles and databases. This tab is really important for you marketing students. Articles and databases will list by title, so you can go straight to MRI if you want to. But I do want to point out this find articles by subject. And then what we've done is we've classified our databases. We have over 200. So trying to find the database you need sometimes is difficult. So we have these listed by subject. There is a section here for marketing. And when you click the marketing, it will bring up these ones that are specific for marketing topics. This thing does include MRI Simmons here. So we have MRI, we also have Business Insights, Business Source, and Merchant that we're going to cover a little bit today. But I do want to focus first on MRI. So when we click on this database, it's going to take you just to a brief landing page. You can hit proceed. If you haven't logged into our databases in the last 24 hours, it may take you to a VeriPass login page first. They also have these built-in reports and different boards available. But what I'm going to show you first is this Launch 1.0. So there's MRI Simmons, and then there's Catalyst. So one's a newer version. They do update these periodically, but I want to show you both versions. You can do both for your assignment. I prefer the 1.0, honestly. So as long as it's still up and going, it's probably the easier version to use. So upper right corner, Launch 1.0. And it's going to take you to a landing page here. And this is where you type in your keywords. Sorry, I'm battling a cold today, y'all. So my voice goes in and out. That is why. They do have, Christina, these different data sets here. The 2021 Spring MRI Simmons includes all of their reports in one. So generally, that's the one that's going to get you the most data in one place. And then down below, you'll see the search box here. And this is where it's really important to follow your assignment. Christina is so nice to y'all. They have step-by-step guides on how to do this. So if you have your assignment in front of you, what I suggest is just going step by step. And so for the first part, you're going to research post-Pebbles fruity. So fruity pebbles, which is perfect for this time of day, anytime of day. So if we type in post-Pebbles, and if you type slow enough, it will start to offer you suggestions. Let it offer suggestions. So when you see the data sets listed on your assignment, don't feel like you have to type in that whole thing. So as you type, it will try to guess. But then just match up the item you need to what's on your assignment here. So post-Pebbles fruity, brand Catalyst, used in the last 6 months, brand consumer. So that matches. Click on this option, and it says to add it as a column. You'll find the column button to the right of the search box. It says column. We're just going to add this to a column. And so what we're starting to do is build the spreadsheet that's going to give you the data to where all of these points intersect. So who is buying Fruity Pebbles? Who is buying Duncan Hines? So all we're doing is building the report. This database is so good for that. So your next data set here is Duncan Hines. So I'll type in Duncan Hines. And we're looking for the classic mixes. And again, just double check that all of this listed here matches up. That is the option we want. Click on that option and then add it to the column on the right. You'll notice on the left-hand side, it is showing what we've added. So you have your two options in columns. So now all we need to do is add any of the demographic information to find out who is purchasing these. To do that, I prefer clicking over, it says composer. So if you click on composer, we're going to the dictionary option here. And this is where you're going to be able to find all the demographic information. This is also where it may get a little confusing because there is so much demographic information. But step by step, if we go to demographics, respondent, so we want to see who responded to this survey based on these demographic information. We're going to go to bases. And what we want here is men and women. This is where you get a couple of options on how to do this. The how isn't so much important. So you can click on men and women, add at the bottom, and it puts it in this area here. You can also drag and drop anything. So for example, if I clicked on men, I could drag it over to that middle section. I could also drag it all the way over to my row. So you have options, sometimes depending on the platform you're using. So if you're using Chrome, if you're using Firefox, Chrome is recommended. Or if you're using an Apple product versus Dell, sometimes it just looks different. So you have options dragging and dropping, or you have options of clicking and adding. Move this one. So we have our base men and women here in the center. The other part we have is age, and it's the age summary. So that's one to just be mindful of. If you click on age, it just gives you individual. So 18, 19, 20, 21. We're looking for ranges. So when you click on age summary, that will provide you those ranges listed in your assignment. And then you can add where it says 18 to 24, 25, 34. Just go down the rows here and make sure you get the ones that you need. So again, you can click on these, drag them over, or click add. So we're just starting to build here. And then you can just keep going. So for example, race is listed here. So we can do I don't wear my glasses today. And I may not be clicking on exactly the ones, but I'm hoping this gives you an example. So we've added these here. And then just go through and just be careful which ones we choose here. So even marital status, we have never married, now married, widowed, divorced, separated legally. And then I'm going to add those over. So this, I would go back and check. Once you have this middle section built, the part that I do like that they've added this middle part is you can go back and double check to make sure you have each one that you need. So if you find that you missed one, you can just go back over to the left column and add it here in the middle. Once you have all of these built in this middle section, you can either select all and add those to your row, or again, you can copy or drag and drop those over. So we already had our columns built. Now we have our rows. I'm going to click Run Report. So this will take all that data that they've received from survey information and puts it in a report where there's cross tabs. So we get to see who bought what. And this is where if you've never used MRI, you get all the data, all the numbers. It's not as bad as it appears. we're going to focus on that. I know, we're going to focus on that index number. And it's this one column. And so each column you have for a different brand will have its own index listed here. The index will tell you the percentage more or less likely that someone has purchased that product. So we're going to consider 100 as our base. That's our base number. So 100 is the base. Anything above that base number of a 100 is going to be the percentage more likely. So for example, women are 12%. You can see this, it says 112, 12% more likely to have purchased Fruity Pebbles than men. That's interesting. That's something to note, right? The age summary, 18 to 24, they are 41% more likely to purchase Fruity Pebbles. So anything over 100, that percentage more likely. Versus we have this age summary, 55 to 64, they have the red arrow, it's 50. They're 50% less likely. So these are numbers just to keep in mind. You can also change how this is sorted. If you click this index number, it will bring all your positive green arrows to the top. So that way you can more quickly scan over and see which ones are listed. So again, 163, so 63% more likely for Fruity Pebbles, the age 35 to 44. You can also click that index one more time. It brings all the negative arrows to the top, so the percentage less likely. And then your third click will set it back to normal. Sometimes that's just good to kind of click through and see which ones. You can do this for both brands you have listed. So we have our Post Fruity Pebbles and then our cake mixes. So again, I would go through here. This is interesting. The women are both 12% more likely in both of our brands. I'm not sure if I've seen that happen where it's the exact same. So 12% more likely. So that's where you would have to make decisions, you know, oh, well, women are already more likely, but they're only slightly more likely. Do you focus on that group? Do you focus on the ones less likely? That's the part that Christina is teaching you on. I'm not the marketing expert, but I do find it incredibly fascinating to see who is more likely to purchase something. Now, if you have your report back to normal, so your index numbers are back where they need to be, just the normal, so not sorted, whether more positive or more less likely. I recommend going to this export here on the left-hand side. So you'll see this export here. You can export this into an Excel file. So partly, I think for your assignment, you'll need to do this in order to show Christina your reports. So you have this export XLS. When you click on that, depending on your computer, it may pop up below or above, but you can open this report. Nope, no. Oh, I lost it. There it is. You can open this crosstab report. So this will pull over that information that we just went through, but it's in an Excel file. This is something that you can save. You can modify it from here if you need to. But the other part to our MRI database, there is a 10 user limit. So if 10 students are already logged in, you won't be able to get into the database. So I would say once you get your report set up, export it into Excel, save it there. And that way you can use that indefinitely. You don't have to go back to the database, rerun anything. You have the copy of that data. I do like that it imports the index numbers with the arrows. I mean, that's just me. And you will notice that there are some that are yellow. They look a little orange here. But those are just the numbers that are close to that 100 base level. So where it is 5% less likely here, it may not be a significant amount, but I still think it's something that you can note. But they really focus on things that are more or less significant here. You may also find that there are star symbols here. Some will have one, some will have two. So when you have that listed, it just means that they didn't have enough survey respondents on that section. So they say to use it with caution. So it's hard to say, okay, well, for sure, we think Native Americans are 8% more likely. They just didn't get a really good population to take the survey to get enough that they can generalize it to the whole population of American Indians or Alaska Natives. So you can still use it, just use it with caution. Does that make sense? So let's go back to our MRI. And again, you can export this here. I would suggest doing that and then saving it. You can save this also in your MRI Simmons database platform. I always recommend exporting it and saving it there. It's just easier to work with there. Okay. You can always come back to different columns and rows. There's ways that you can delete. So if you want to look at different demographics or different brands, you can do that. Okay. Do you all have any questions on this, those that are here today?
So we're just using these two for our assignment and interpreting like what information is being pulled through them. Is it supposed to be in like a paper format, like an essay format, or just making statements of like what we see the differences are between the two?
I put an example of the assignment on Blackboard. So you can look at that to get an idea, but what you're going to do is you're going to export to your Excel file, and then you're just going to focus on the indices, and then you'll write in, I guess, narrative form that, for example, she says that women are 12% more likely than the general population to buy post Fruity Pebbles. And so you'll do that. And so you'll look at those across, and then so you'd say women are 12% more likely to purchase Fruity Pebbles and cake mix, Duncan Hines cake mix. And then you'd go to, but you wouldn't talk about men because they're less than 100. And then you look at the next one that's over 100. And so you would do that for the 18 to 24, the 25 to 34, the 35 to 44. And it's a little tedious, but you have to write it out. And then after you've done that, you'll target and you'll pick the population that you're going to target your marketing towards. And so that would usually be the base product is the cake mix, and we're adding this new flavor, this new Fruity Pebbles. And so we would want to use the people who are already buying the cake mix, but we want to add in anybody that the Fruity Pebbles brings in, because that new product is bringing in new customers. And so we're very interested in where Fruity Pebbles adds people that we didn't have before in the cake mixes.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Great. Any other questions? Okay. So we conducted this in 1.0. I would definitely like to show the 2.0 version that they have, just in case it's something that maybe you would like to try this one out. 1.0 I still feel is a little easier, but you can use the 2.0 as well. And so when you first log in, when you click on that MRI Simmons, it will take you to the Catalyst platform first. From here, you can go to this Analyze tab at the top and then Cross tab. And that's going to take you again to that place where you can start to build your report. The part that is a little more tedious, I feel, in this one is when you go to type in, for example, post Pebbles, do a search there because it doesn't fill it in for you. So you have to click down through. So where it has post Pebbles, fruity, household products, you have to go through each level and click to find it. So we click on food products, breakfast cereal cold. Let's do brand. And then you have to find your brand here. So post Pebbles fruity, click that, click add, and then that will give you that whole line. So the household products used in the last 6 months, brand consumer, that will give you this option here. So in 1.0, you can start to type and it guesses. You can click on it pretty quick. This one, or click on it pretty quick. Oh goodness. And then on this one, you just have to like click each section separately. So to each their own. If you like this version, that's great. If you like the other one, it's still available. From here, you can add to, here it says at the bottom, columns, rows. We want to add this to the column. So you can click column or you can drag and drop. And it will place it in your column. So it's the same for the other going through Duncan Hines. And it's going to say, okay, well, which product, food product, and then dry cake mixes, brand, and we're looking Duncan Hines Classic. Add that, double check to make sure it is the one you want. Click column and add it there. The same for when you want to get into demographics. It will list this already for you. So this part is where it's going to be most similar to the 1.0 version. So you'll click on your demographics, respondent, and that's where you can find your bases here. So men, women, add that. And then you can go through different age summary. So this part is the same. And then you can add that to your rows. Similar but different. Once you get all of those added, you just do the same part where you run the report. I feel that, I think they were trying to make it look cleaner, but I think I like the other version with the different arrows. The yellow arrows, I feel don't show up as well. The color contrast is a little different. I know maybe I shouldn't give my opinion on which version, but you know, again, everybody searches differently, and part of it may be because I'm used to 1.0. Not that you all have extra time, but I would try both versions and see which one, if you like one or the other, especially if you're a marketing student, you'll probably have other assignments where you use MRI. So it's good to just to get used to different platforms. So from here, you do get a lot of the same options. You can click on the index and it will resort things for you. Oh, maybe used to. Oh. I didn't lie here. Oh,
I guess you can't sort that one.
I guess. I say I was just in here earlier and it let me. I don't know. I think technology hates me today. You do have the option, you can save this. You can do different views. So it's very similar. And then if you want to export, I feel that they've kind of hidden the export function. For you all, you have to use that Excel file. So being able to find it here is really important. It's going to be in the upper right where there's 3 dots next to each other. When you click the dots, it gives you the option to export. You click export and then it gives you the option for Excel. a little more difficult to find. And what faces? One. My goodness. I don't think I need to do that. There. Ignore that section where it's asking you your bases. And then it gives you the report. Again, it will look a little different than your other Excel export, but it would have your same information here. It does include the arrows still, and it does give you any warnings on when to use data with caution. So similar but different. Any further questions on Simmons, MRI Simmons? I suggest 1.0, but 2.0 is there. You all are quiet. I know, it's a lot. It's a lot to take in, right? Yes. So with that in mind, I want to mention next that there is on our website in that tab search box, a subject guide section here. So if you go to subject guides, you can type in marketing. And on this marketing subject guide, there is a 772 for you all. There's a tab there for you all, but there's a tab completely devoted to MRI Simmons. So this will explain, okay, there is a new platform. We recommend going to 1.0. There's the link that takes you to the database. There is a little bit about using that index. And there's a few other videos out there. I did do a demo with KC barbecue and Lay's potato chips. Once we've got this video, I will add this one because it's a little newer, but I think you could make it through with this video. But this will help you. And again, it's the marketing guide, MRI Simmons and marketing 772. There's also a way here to contact me. So my email, you can click email me, it will open up in an email. You can also schedule an appointment with me. So if you would rather sit down and kind of go through this process, I am available. We can do virtual or in person. Okay. So other databases. Articles and databases, we went here earlier by subject, marketing, and then we have these other databases listed here. So if you all are doing research and trying to find information either in industries or with different companies, we have other databases that can help with that. I know MRI is our focus today, but I do want to touch just briefly on some of these other databases, as they might help you in this class and other classes as well. So for business insights, it's a little different. If you've used this platform in the past, it changed over the last year. I recommend doing advanced search here. The reason for that is it just opens up different options. So if you are doing research into a specific company, there's a company tab here. If it's an industry, there's an industry tab. You can also just do keyword searching and find different articles about things. I'm going to show you a company search though quickly here. For example, Hershey. What I like about this updated version is it will tell you not only the company name, where it's located, because that's important. A lot of companies will have the same name, right? So double check that you're looking at the correct one. It also will list whether they are a private or public company. So sometimes that is important when you're doing research in companies. If it's a private company, sometimes it's harder to find information. It's basically whatever information they want to put out there is what they'll do. Public information, you can find a ton of information, or public companies, you can find a ton of information on those. So for example, Hershey Company, this one's public, United States, Pennsylvania. So let's click on this one. This will take you to a company profile page. It will list their website, their revenue information, how many employees they have. If it is a public company, it will have the SWOT analysis here. You can click to read the full SWOT analysis. Usually these are about 4 pages each. You can download these. These will include a great bit of company overview, and then it will go into each piece of that SWOT analysis. So what are the strengths for this company? What are the weaknesses? Any opportunities, threats, all of that. So when you're doing company research, these are really important to find. You do have the option if you want to print download. You can also send this to your Google Drive account. Generally, you can find, print, download, email. There is an option to send it to OneDrive. OneDrive, it's a tricky, right? You can also increase or decrease the size. You can listen to these as well. Interestingly, we get a lot of questions about which reports can I just listen to? There's a lot of folks that like to listen to these while they're driving. You do have options here at the very, very top to cite as well. So when you're doing your research, you want to be able to come back and find this again. Anybody that's reading any of the reports that you write, they want to be able to find the information. Where did you get that information? So having the option here to cite this, and you have APA, MLA, I think y'all usually use APA. It's my favorite one. Double check it though, to make sure it is accurate. There's times where it will include links where APA doesn't always need you to include that. So just double check, make sure things are in the right order. Formatting is correct. So when things are in italics that they're supposed to be, and vice versa. Just want to make sure if it's doing the work for you that it's done it correctly. We have this information here. So again, you can go to whichever company. There's also other articles listed here. They've added a chronology section. So sometimes you could find the entire history of a company. You can also find what their brands are listed as. It's really interesting. Down below is all the financial information. And they even have financials over time.
And how did you get to that website?
Yes, it is from library's homepage. I went to that second tab, articles and databases. And then by subject.
Mm-hmm.
And then marketing.
Oh.
And this one is the first one. So Business Insights Essentials is the first one. And you'll notice this pop out box. The librarians are constantly asking if you need help. So use us if you need us. If you see that tab pop out and you're like, yeah, actually I do have a question, hit chat now. Otherwise you can say no thanks and we'll go away.
Okay.
But yeah, Business Insights. It's a great database, again, for company information. You can find a lot of financial, a lot of SWOT reports, industry statistics, things like that. Business Source Complete is listed below that one. It's an EBSCOhost database. So if you've ever used any of our EBSCOhost databases before, it will look very familiar to you. There is a company information tab here at the top. So again, if you're looking for specific companies, you can go straight to that company information. I suggest doing searches though in the search box for your company. So for example, if we're looking for Hershey, you might say Hershey, yeah, spell it correctly. My goodness. Hershey SWOT, for example. And that will bring SWOT analyses here. Sometimes if you're not finding them in Business Insights, come over to Business Source Complete and look for those SWOT analyses here. So depending on the database, sometimes they'll be in one and not the other. So it's always good to kind of cross-check with those. Watch the dates on some of these. This one's not so bad. I mean, from November, so that's great. Sometimes, again, if a public company has switched to private, you may only see some of the older ones. Just be mindful of dates here. The other keyword option I would recommend, and so if you do, oh gosh, I'm going to do Hershey and Market Line, for example. So we have Market Line reports. So if I do a search for a company and then Market Line, it will bring you these industry profile reports. They are incredibly lengthy, but again, if you're wanting any type of company or industry research, these are great. Again, you kind of have to sift through 43 pages to find exactly what you need, but these are PDF full text. Generally, you can find within the last couple of years here. This will cover even if there's, geography segmentation, profiles of leading companies. So this is good to go in. You can find different competitors, things like that in this industry. Here's a Market Line for Hershey, 5/8/2023. So check the dates. Things that are in any EBSCOhost and really most of our databases now, when you click on the title of those, you do get the options print, email, save, and then our site as well. So this one will have APA style. You can tell this one looks completely different than the other one. So just kind of double check those. You can also do, Hershey and marketing, for example. So if you want to just find general articles about maybe how Hershey is marketing their products, you can do that as well. Check the dates, unless you're wanting to do historical research on marketing and what Hershey has done throughout the years. But you have those options here. When you do a search, there are listings here for trade publications. I always recommend those for anybody in marketing or business. So you can see, for example, Advertising Age, Brand Week. So those trade publications that really focus in on this topic. And not just maybe general magazines for a general population. Questions on Business Source? The last specific database listed here in our marketing section is Merchant that I want to show. So it's under that same listing, articles and databases by subject marketing. You can do company searches here. I'm on a Hershey kick today. I'm going to have to go buy some chocolate. So I'll search for the Hershey company. Again, this will give you a great overview of this company. The part that I really want to show you is, oh gosh, when it's under, they have competitors. So some of you will be interested in who are the competitors. There is a competitor tab here. So you can see kind of what's out there. They do have also company reports. And this is where I really like seeing what the company is putting out there. So if you go to company reports and then, let's see. Oh, no, I lied. Annual reports from the company here. Anything that says 10K for these companies, these are huge reports, but if you're wanting to find a lot of information on your company, go to the table of contents here. So this is what the company is putting out. So how are they running the business? What do they see as their risk factors here? This is interesting. Unresolved staff comments, legal proceedings. So this really gets into the heart of these companies. The other part is in these business sections. can see where they're kind of focusing their attention. So is this going to be North American? Are they branching out internationally? How are they doing that? If you're looking for, oh, Christine, I just blanked on it. How they're getting their product out there. You can find it. I know. Again, it feels like Monday on a Wednesday. You can really see how they are shipping their products. Products and brands, principal customers, and their marketing strategy. I know, I feel like I missed my call. I should have been in marketing. I find this information so fascinating because what you all are doing research-wise in MRI, these companies also do that. So they're going out and they're saying, okay, who's buying our product? How can we better market to maybe those that we think we can reach and that they would purchase this? So this whole marketing strategy, that's what you all are starting off learning how to do. You know, every company may have their own different database that they use, but MRI is used more in companies than they are in libraries. So it's kind of interesting that we get to show you this experience with this database. Yeah, so that's how they're finding this information for their marketing strategy. Okay. So annual reports, 10K, find those huge reports that gives you all that information. That's really what I like Merchant for, is these annual reports. Sometimes you can find them online. Sometimes they're hard to find. Sometimes it's easier just to go through the database because it's just packaged there for you as long as you click on the right tab. Okay. The only other database, and it's a grouping of databases, is this Discover at MSU. I want to mention it briefly because you may use it in other classes. This will search most of our marketing databases along with the business databases, psychology databases. So if you're wanting to find journal articles, magazines, newspapers, you can use this search and it will find that information here. If we do just a general search on marketing and chocolate, for example, this will search across those other databases, but not MRI, since it's a whole different beast. But from here, you are able to see there's a lot out there. But you can narrow it down on the left-hand side. So if you want to find peer-reviewed journals, so if you're wanting to find who is researching in this and what data are they compiling, you can limit to peer-reviewed journals. That's also going to be your most credible information. Or again, those trade publications listed here. And this will be trade publications, again, across our databases. So it covers not only marketing, but all the general business databases as well. So you have these options here. I just want to make sure that you all know that's available. As we're winding up our time, the last thing I want to show you is this Ask a Librarian on the left-hand side. Got questions, we've got answers. You're not alone in your research. Not everyone loves to do research. Your librarians love it. Like, as you can tell, like, we get excited about it. If you have questions, reach out to us. Don't hesitate. Don't act like oh, I don't want to bother you, because I get a lot of students that'll come to my office and say, I don't want to bother you. I'm like, no, it's not a bother. Please ask me. We love it. So it's what we like to do. So you can chat with us. Down below the chat, you can text us, call us, email us, or set up one-on-one appointments even with us. So again, you need to meet with me and have us go through this whole process together. We can do that.
If I can interject, there was one other, it wasn't a data set, but it was the Wall Street Journal is also available to you. So you don't have to buy a subscription. The library has one.
Yes, thank you. I always forget that one. And it's also under that by subject marketing right there. Wall Street Journal. Yeah, because I can't even imagine what the subscription is now for a Wall Street Journal. Yes, Wall Street Journal. We have other ones as well. So if you are in a business class and they want you to look at other publications, we generally have several of those available. Wall Street Journal is a big one. Any questions?
Thank you, Tracy, for taking the time to show us all of this. We really do appreciate it. And
Yeah.
she's not kidding. If you need her, she really does like to answer questions. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you all. I try to be as quick about it as possible because I know you all are on a time crunch generally with assignments, so. I don't see any questions in the chat. Okay. All right, well, thank you all.
Thank you for your time.